we went to Lowell, Indiana, and we were talking to the preacher up there, and he had, I don't know where he got the idea, but he had put in the paper that the Kingsmen Quartet were coming to town. Now, this was before we even knew anything about a Kingsmen Quartet, any other place. And we liked the name, so we kept it. And we went to Lowell with the intention of a good revival meeting, but we didn't have anybody to play for us.
The preacher called. The revival was going to start, and that day the quartet had arrived and they needed a piano player.
Well, the preacher said, we have a girl home from Lincoln Christian College, and she plays the piano. Let me call her.
I guess I said yes right away. I don't know, I was kind of excited about the prospect of doing that.
He called a girl by the name of Anita Hayden.
That's when I met Ted on the steps of the church.
And she played the piano for us during that time.
Then during the revival, he taught a church history workshop before the meeting each night, and I attended that.
We had another revival in Siloam Springs, Arkansas scheduled, and so we talked the girl into coming to Siloam Springs. Was it Rogers? And playing for us down there. And the day that the revival was over was the day that Lincoln Christian College enrolled. And here she was all the way down there in Arkansas. So we talked her into going to Ozark and enrolling the next day or two.
It was during that week that they had talked to me about it. I didn't want to, because I said I'm going back to Lincoln and finish there. During the revival, I was doing chalk pictures while the quartet sang also. So I had all that equipment with me. Well, I talked to my folks on the phone that week and told them I'd kind of considered going to Ozark. And they said, well, if that's what you want, we'll bring some of the rest of your clothes and money for books. And this is what they did. They bought my books. Since we'd known each other for a year, we had our first date that year, 1958. In April, we had our first date. We played miniature golf on our date. And then he brought me back to the school, and then we'd go out and eat sometimes, or various school activities. And then, so a month later, he parked alongside the music building, just off North Wall, and he asked if I wouldn't consider being his wife. And so, of course, I had to think a little bit about it.
When she hesitated there, I just decided that she didn't want me. So I started to take her home, or take her back to the dormitory.
And he said, well, if you don't want to, and he started to turn the key to leave, and I said, well, I think I'll say yes.
After she said yes, I kissed her, and that was the first kiss.
At that time, that was our first kiss. We had something in common. We both loved the Lord, and we both liked the same things. In college, we were in choir at the same time, and had traveled with the choir, and we just had a lot of the same interests, and we just felt like God had prepared both of us to meet each other. My sister-in-law Frances set my hair for me that morning. My sister Ella May had made the wedding dress. Seemed like an awfully long day waiting for the time to go to the church. I think my dad was nervous. He was pretty nervous before he walked me down the aisle. I think it was hard for my parents because they knew I was going to be moving to Kansas, and I really didn't think too much about it. I didn't want to move away from all the relatives and my parents, but at the same time, through the years since I'd become a Christian, I can remember praying a lot about, what I was going to do in God's service and everything, and I just felt like this was an answer to prayer.
The wedding march started, and we walked out into the church sanctuary, and I looked back toward the back, and a vision of beauty came floating down the aisle on her father's arm, and I thought, the Lord's awful good to me.